All right, we are live. Just gonna wait a few seconds to make sure that YouTube and StreamYard are yapping at each other. There we go. We're talking. A little bit of delay, but we're talking. All right. Welcome to the Rabyd Atheist. I'm your host, Ed Rabyd, a former pastor turned atheist, now compassionate anti-theist. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Deconversion Hangout. This is a place if you're deconverting, interested in deconversion, why people deconvert, want to help support people that are deconverting and show you at least your moral support. And I'm no expert, but I've been deconverting from the Christian faith for getting close to 9 years now. So I can at least give you some advice and some options. And but I'm no professional. If you really need professional help, recovery from religion is a good starting point. So sorry for missing Tuesday, but this week I have a lot of things scheduled as far as getting some personal business and things done, and I'm like, something has to give. And unfortunately, it was rapid fire. But I'm going to talk more about scheduling and stuff Saturday because I'm currently trying to move my activism and my YouTubing and my writing to another level. And so I'm working on doing this more on the reg, like it genuinely is another job. And I think that'll happen. So, but thanks everybody for being here. Appreciate all of you. With Deconversion Hangout, of course, is a 20-minute, you have to become a subscriber to participate in chat, and there's a 20-minute delay. So if you just subscribe, you're going to have to wait. So, but we'll see what happens. But let's see who's here. Martin showed up first. The artist formerly known as Ed, Pastor Ed. Now I'm atheist, rabid atheist Ed. Cranky is here. Good to see the elder gods involved in things. Fred Harvey is here. Rimmer is here. Let's see. What else did I see? Anne is here. Asso is here. Evan is here. I saw somebody else. I think Kyle's here too, but I don't see him for some reason on the list. Ren is here. Outstanding. Paul is here. Kyle's here. Yes. Yeah. I guess my YouTubing and writing is kind of activist basic, but it's one of the things I want to get more involved in. It's kind of the late game for me, is to be more of an activist, fighting against the effects of religion in my country. So there's that. But I do that with my channel and stuff like that, but I don't, activism is kind of what has allowed me to shift from being a pastor to being something else. I don't know what the hell you want to call me now, but it's like that. So it's kind of like that. But some of the things that, I usually start this thing. Tuesday I had to cut the stream because I had way too many things on my schedule this week. I had 3 appointments, plus some other stuff that was family and personal related. So it was like, I hate to do it, but I'm gonna need Tuesday afternoon off. But my anxiety level is dropping, and part of it is my mouth is no longer hurting. I actually did not take pain medications when I got up this afternoon, so I'm running the stream pain free without pain meds. So that's a big plus for me. So it takes something off of my brain, and I got a lot of sleep today. I slept pretty soundly. So yes, I know, we gasped. Yeah, so it's like stuff I had to get done. And so part of that is I went to, I'm losing my mind right now, but I had a couple of appointments this week. One was the optometrist today. Just had to get some of that taken care of. And she's given me some options, and now I can actually kind of see the contacts she's given me actually are more my prescription. So that's helpful. Wednesday, I met with my therapist, and Tuesday right now. What did I do Tuesday? I can tell my anxiety is still not quite gone because I'm forgetting shit. But yeah. So, but I had an appointment then too, and my car. Yeah, my car is fixed. Had to get my car fixed. For those of you who remember, I hit a deer about a month and a half ago, and now my car is back to full functioning after Tuesday. So that's dropped my anxiety level and just getting stuff done. I just didn't know Tuesday how long I was going to be at the repair guys. So there's that. All right. Yeah, it is amazing how much when you clear stuff off your plate, your anxiety levels drops. So yeah. Yeah, the fun thing about anxiety is you don't need an about. That is correct. Um, Thank you. I'm glad to be back. I actually feel really good today, so I'm pain free from my mouth. There's no pain there, and I didn't have to take pain meds and got stuff done. So there we go. Yeah, almost on time. Yeah. Yeah, going back to the activist thing, yes, I'm trying to branch out. That's kind of I have three things I do as the Rabyd Atheist. I do YouTube, I do writing, and I try to be an activist in the sense that I advocate for people who are deconverting and atheists. So yeah, I kind of do that stuff whenever I get a chance. It's just kind of like third place on my list of priorities most of the time. Hey, Filbert, good to see you. I think I missed you. Yes, I know. How dare I take personal stuff? For those of you that are members, you have two new emojis in your file. Um, we have a no emoji for you, which I laugh at every time. And you also have a yes emoji, a thumbs up emoji as well from Fangs. So you have two brand new emojis from the lovely artist Earl, who has been working very diligently of late. I got some artwork that I'll reveal a little bit later for her. So you now have thumbs up, thumbs down. I replaced the old thumbs up, thumbs down with these. So now you have that. I think the only other emoji that I'm working on replacing is the first one, which will probably be um, some sort of celebratory one. So we have that. But if you remember, you got those. So good reason to become a member or gift memberships to people so they can use those as well. But yes, I love this one. So, well, there you have it. But yeah, there's a Earl sent me the grumpy version of fangs, and then immediately converted it into this as well. So if she shows up, make sure you thank her profusely, give her head pats. So acts of deer, yes, my acts of deer. I call them acts of nature now instead of acts of God. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. I appreciate you guys have been very concerned for me, and I thank you very much for that. It's nice to have a community that like looks out for me a little bit because I don't always look out for myself the best. So yes. Conference early morning. Oh well, you're actually going to be. Yeah, actually. Yeah, but you're actually going to be closer. Only I could fly to Vancouver and had the time. But yeah, if I ever get the money, I definitely want to do a tour of Europe at some point, and I'll definitely have to stop by Michael's house and bother the hell out of them. Oh, yeah. Make sure you stay safe. Keep your head on a swivel these days, I swear. But yeah, so you got the new emojis. I don't know. I keep putting this one up because I think this is going to end up. This is something that Earl did on the fly, but I think this is going to be something that kind of becomes a theme for me in the book that me and Earl are working on together, which is kind of an adult children's book telling the children's stories of the Bible. In some cases, we'll also have some news stories. We've been talking about this a lot about what we're headed. So there's yes. Actually, Earl's very fond of Cranky and putting Cranky's tentacles in her art. I don't know, Crank. Yeah, well, thank you, Michael. Uh, my one bucket list item is to do like a river cruise of most of Europe, maybe several. So, if I'm in the area, definitely stop by and say hi. I don't know. So, if I could do, I don't know that I would have done anything different, Kyle, than I've done. I've spent a good chunk of my life lifting. Um, Diet has always been the bugaboo for me, so I'm not really sure I'm the greatest one for advice, but I've always been a lifter, lifting weights and taking walks, and I do things that are common for human beings to do, stretching, things like that. I need to get back to some of that, but I'm 56 and I have no major health issues at present, other than my optometrist and I are now going round and round about my eyes. So, so there's that. But yeah, I've just made sure. I also, um, you know, I don't know if this is my religion so much as my personal fortitude about it. But I've just never been a heavy drinker. I've never smoked. I've never really done drugs. So, um, just keeping the garbage out is probably as best as. I don't know. Well, there's the lovely Earl. Yes, and Chapman reminding us to like the stream. Please do that. Check out the goal in chat. I have my hats ready in case we reach that. So there's that. Uh, yeah, I was wondering. I see. I don't know. Maybe Earl has a thing for tentacles. Yeah, but yeah, just so everybody remember, this, you know, you have a couple new emojis. This is art she did, and I'm gonna. Earl sent this to me earlier today, and it kind of may reflect one of the stories we're going to tell. You treat your body like an abuser. Yeah. So there you go. Thank you, Martin. Appreciate you. That's one. Oh man. See, the thing with my eyes right now is my optometrist gave me my new prescription for my distance vision, which is working out great. What she wants me to do is basically do monovision, which is one eye is set for distance and the other one is set for reading. And oddly enough, my left eye still has perfect reading vision. It's my right eye that's letting me down. Yes, I have been showing them off because you deserve many, many, many head pats. So, Chasing Man, his wife was pissed. She told some bullshit story about getting eaten by a fish. Speaking of which, that is such a good segue, Cranky. Here we go. Earl sent this to me earlier today, and she says, and I don't know, yeah, she's been on a roll. Earl's just been on a roll lately with this stuff, and so but there's a lot in this picture. A lot of you will see some of it and some others, but the thing about the story of Jonah and the whale, it's not really a whale. It says big fish, and it doesn't tell us what type of big fish it was. So I think Earl kind of reconceived the big fish as an angler fish, and so it might very well be Fangs Vader goes scuba diving. But yes, so as soon as I saw this, I said, "Well, I haven't really thought about the Jonah and the whale story. I know I was going to include it in the book, but yeah, I'm thinking the fish is actually a very large angler fish, so we can do that." And there's a lot actually in this photo. I'm sure Cranky has already noticed his tentacles wrapping around the merchick up in the corner. We, of course, had to put a whale in because we're all about whale citizenship here. So, and a bunch of other things that are just in there. It's really nice. So, see, she's been working on the anglerfish for ages, but I immediately said, it doesn't say what the great fish is in the Jonah and the whale story, the Jonah and the great fish story. So why not? Why not a very large angler fish and bring in the whole, angler angle, so to speak. Okay, there you go. Yeah, good. We can do all kinds of things with the story of Jonah and the whale. Um, I've already thought of a few lines of dialogue between the anglerfish and fangs, and of course we got to throw Jonah in there and Yahweh. A large theme of the book is how fangs is a young deity, a new deity, and so every once in a while he takes advice from the elder gods who find it humorous when Fangs pisses off Yahweh. And so that might be a major theme plot device throughout the whole thing, is that the Fangs is just, learning how to be a god and in the process pissing off Yahweh because he's a better god than Yahweh. So, yes, whale citizenship can't be forgotten. Prophecy, yes. I don't know. See, the story is really vague. It's like he's in the belly of the fish. What does that mean? Um, so yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I think that's kind of what we're going for. I'm trying to show how the stories are silly and I can add things to them. And I have just as much evidence and proof for what I add as the original story. So, yes, a baby deity, relatively speaking, yes. He's only a few thousand years old. So, other deities like the elder gods are a little bit older. But yeah, I think, it becomes my plot device for kind of connecting the stories that you have poor Fangs just trying to learn how to be a good deity, and he's taking advice from various gods, and most of his conflict is with Yahweh and his son JC and the spook. So as we go along, so yeah, probably Marvel's Thor arc. Yeah, kind of. Where's the Hellhound at? I don't see Azo. I'll probably work the Hellhound in. I want to do one of the stories I want to do is Daniel, the three Hebrew children in the fiery furnace, and I think the Hellhound would be perfect there. Where, Fangs and the Hellhound just kind of walk in their Blues Brothers attire and just walk through the fiery furnace talking about shit. So, but yes, hold on. I forgot the Blues Brothers. It's still one of my favorites. But yes, this is what we revealed on Saturday. So there's the Hellhound. Oh, and so like we're gonna have like the Blues Brothers, Fangs, and Hellhound walking through the fiery furnace, chatting like it's not a big deal, while these three Hebrew children are kind of anxious but putting their trust in Yahweh. And yeah, the duo may point out to the three Hebrew children it's probably not a good plan. So, yeah. Yes, Severus, yes. Yeah, it's the Hellhound is hilarious. When I saw this one on Saturday, I was absolutely dying with laughter inside. So, you take care, man. Yeah, I'm gonna have to discuss some stuff. Saturday is gonna be a discussion day, state of the channel kind of stream, because I'm trying to treat my activism, YouTube stuff, writing stuff as more of a job. I'm thinking about rescheduling a few things just to make it easier for me, and plus start getting some genuinely working towards some new videos. So one of the things my therapist suggested was to go back to some of my old videos when I first started the channel, which still don't have a lot of views, and redo them. So yeah. Yes. As a kid, used to sleep on a dog. Yeah, I mean, to me, remember, this is a natural partnership. Dogs and rabbits. Yeah, if they grow up together, they tend to be okay with each other. But my beagle didn't like rabbits, so. I was in middle school. I wrote about a sea monster could swallow a small island and got blown up. Okay. Yeah. See, and this is kind of silliness that we're going to probably end up doing in the book too. Like it's meant to be a spoof, and I've written comedy before. It's actually harder to write than probably anything else because it has to be what I perceive as funny is not what everybody else perceives as funny. So, but yeah. Hey, there's Ronald. Good to see you, Ronald. Sweet home Chicago. Yes. So we'll see. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm headed with the channel a little bit. Mostly just overcoming, like for me, the deconversion issue right now is overcoming my creative block and having a more defined purpose for what I'm trying to do with my life. So yes, Fangs does indeed time travel. Hold on. I think I can fit one more picture in. In fact, one of the most nefarious episodes of Fangs is time travel is this. So, because that's going to be so, but yes, it's he does time travel. He feels guilty about this particular incident because he may have accidentally created the Christian religion while he did it. So it's a cautionary tale. So make sure it teaches two lessons. Make sure you know who you're boinking, and two, don't resort to time travel to cover up your mistakes. Just a bad way of doing things. Yeah. Yeah. I think Earl's hilarious. Her humor is great. So if that's the as well, so there's that. Knows where all the gigawatt lighting will hit. I don't know. He seems to. Um, there's space time portals. Yeah, that's possible. See, I have my ideas for the Great Flood story already cranky, so that'll be fun. I just got to put some yes, Grand Fangs paradox. Yes, the full story that is canon for Fangsology is that Fangs was pretending to be JFK as president and was fooling around with Marilyn Monroe and accidentally got Marilyn pregnant. And in order to cover that up, he took the zygote, went back in time, and gave it to Mary instead. Because, and the cautionary tale is that he accidentally became Jesus Christ's father and created a religion at the same time, and both actions he now regrets. So there's that. Well, yeah, we're dealing with mythology here. I'm weaving my mythology with other mythologies. What else do you expect me to do with it? Yeah, it's a whoops. Yeah. Great Bear, that's how he is being read. Oh. Yeah, I mean, it is believable as the Bible, and that's kind of my point. Our whole idea is to have is to point out the absurdity of religion by being absurd. So I think it's going to work pretty well. Great ideas. Earl is very inspired right now with her artwork, and it gives her a lot of options to work on. Like if she doesn't feel like working on something, she can switch to something else. And I'm kind of the same when I write, so I'm going to probably have like 20 short stories that I'm writing at the same time. And then I'll figure out once we're done and which ones we're actually using, how to weave them together into a narrative. So, yeah, well, average floods don't sell, no. Yeah, they don't. You just pissed the bed. Yeah, that's probably true. But yeah, so we have a lot of, we already have a lot of artwork and lore, and I've just enjoyed this deep dive. It's allowed me to use my theological training again in making shit up. So it's kind of nice. So, hey, Alex, I see you there, man. Appreciate you stopping by. But yeah, so but yeah, I think we've got that story that's kind of sort of fleshed out. We got fangs in the anglerfish instead of Jonah in the fish. So and the big fish. So yeah, that's Mary. Hey, that was a very. I was surprised that the AI image came out so well the first time. I told it to do a classic painting style of Mary receiving the announcement of Jesus's birth, but replacing the angel Gabriel with a large black rabbit, and bam. So, very. I'm a shit artist, so I leave that to AI when I do art. Well, I'm not bad. It takes forever. I just take forever. So, but yes, that's Mary and Fangs giving her the announcement, pretending to be the Archangel Gabriel. So, it's Yahweh that changes the stories to boost his ego. We're going to get the real truth behind some of this mythology. Like, who really caused the walls of Jericho to fall, for instance? It was Fangs. It wasn't Yahweh. And it was an accident. Oops. There's a lot of oops associated with Fangs because he's a young baby deity still getting used to being a deity. So, uh, you don't need to make shit up, but it does. Yeah, I think it does. I think it's because I've considered so many religions, and now I get rid of a lot of bullshit most of the time, and I can see how people made stuff up to cover themselves, like apologetics. has been around almost from the time that somebody made a claim about a god, period. And then somebody points out a hole in that claim, and then so you end up creating apologetics and creating answers. So yeah, the story of Adam and Eve is going to be a lot of fun to write, I think, because Fangs is going to be like fairly, really, truly new at being a deity, and he's going to not know much, but he's going to realize what's really going on. So, yes, cunning leg snakes. But what's the real story, Martin? Was it really a snake or was it a black rabbit? And everybody thought it was a snake. And then when Yahweh went to curse the black rabbit pretending to be a snake, he missed and actually hit a snake. So he was digging under the walls of Jericho looking for something else, and it just happened to collapse the walls at the right time. Yahweh's just being a dick and decided to create a lot of sound and vibration, and that's what caused them to collapse. But he was fine. They were structurally sound until then. Yes, Adam blamed Eve and God for it. And Fangs hopped out of the way when Yahweh was trying to get him and hit a snake instead. So yeah, I mean you have to do see, I now see the order of this, and this is actually scholarly and technical. People come up with the religious stories, then people have questions, so they have to do apologetics to cover the questions, and then that's when they start writing all this shit down so that they can remember it. So there's that. No, this is the first step to the intellectual system. Probably not. Thanks, Fred. Appreciate you. But yeah, my whole thing with this is I think I can make some good, very solid. The one thing I've learned about humor and comedy is you can make some really solid points, and people take it better. It really is the spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down thing, and comedy is the sugar. Okay, like it gets into your brain. I mean, I remember when I was deconverting, watching like George Carlin talk about religion a lot, and it's like that's funny, but it's like, damn, he makes a solid point, you know. And so there's that. Your parents think you're anti everything now just because. See, Alex, man, this is just so wrong. And it shows the level of indoctrination in your parents, because it's like, just because you become an atheist doesn't mean you change your views on other things. Okay. I've always cautioned people with deconversion, don't think that this makes you have to completely flip the script on all the stuff that you think and hold valuable. Like you don't have to, switch a lot of other things. In fact, as deconversion advice, I don't recommend that you do that. I actually tell you to kind of get used to the fact you don't believe in God anymore first, and then start taking the various viewpoints that you might want to change or look at and take them one by one and analyze them and come up and make your own mind about it. I think one of the greatest exercises you can do in deconversion is look at your worldview and philosophy of life and say, okay, what is this going to be like now that I've gotten rid of God? What does this look like? Okay, do you hear what I'm saying? I hope it's like you need to start moving through the various issues in your life and rethinking them without a God. For me, it was like morality came first, and it's like, okay, I can be a virtuous person without a God, and so the talking ass was definitely the right. But yes, but Alex, just be patient. I know this is hard right now. I want to be very serious with you because it's like dealing with family is hardest. I never had to deal with my parents. My mom, I think, knows I'm an atheist now, but she doesn't say much about it. I think that's because once upon a time she was one. So she understands it. So there's that. Yeah, see, that's I feel bad for you because you're not anti everything. You're actually pro like rationality, maybe pro science, pro. There's things that you stand behind still, and that's just the power of indoctrination on about atheism that religious people do. And I feel sad for that because I feel sad for your parents, by the way, because I think that's it. So, all right, but hopefully that's helpful. Rabbit time travel, yes. Whoever wrote about stealing candy never tried it. There you go. Yes, this is what I'm trying to go for with our book, Earl. Is like I want the absurdity of the comedy to get to a point where it's like, oh wait, that makes a really solid point about religion and holy scriptures and things like that. I mean, I think the comedy is going to help people. They're going to get to the end of the book, hopefully, and go, no, wait a minute. They made some pretty solid points here. Get in the plane. Yes, I remember that one. He was a master of language. Oh my gosh. Holy cow. He was, oh my goodness. Yes, it does do that. And that's kind of what me and Earl, I think, are going for. We're going to write some really funny stuff and we're going to hopefully, I kind of set a deadline for this to be the end of July next year. So, um, but I'm trying to get all the stories that I want to write and then I'll poke at each one when I'm in the mood. And I'm trying to use my autism a little bit as a tool there because I tend to get bored with stuff. And so what I have to do is have multiple things that I'm working on so that, oh yeah, I'm interested in that again. And I go back and poke at it. So there's that. God is everything, the beginning and the end. Okay. All right. I think the book will kind of point out how ridiculous that idea is too. Yes. Yeah, that's Kyle, you're hitting the problem with deconversion sometime when your family's on the other side is that they still have that attitude of moral and intellectual superiority. I've had that argument with so many theists like you believe because you want to be something special. And they get upset about that. I'm like, well, aren't you pretending to be somebody special? You're a child of God. You're going to get eternal life. God is working in your life and making you something better. I said, I don't have that as an atheist. I'm like, I know I'm an ape on a planet in an insignificant part of the galaxy and an insignificant part of the universe. It's like I have to make my own meaning and purpose, and I'm good with that. It's actually I've actually started to enjoy that a lot more that I get to make it myself. So, yeah, so there's that. Oh, and let's see. I missed something. Yeah, and then thank you, Cranky, for the hat. The like button boops. Yes, there we go. Fangs religion now. There you go. See, there you go, Alex. Just, introduce him to Fangs, who nibbles on their heart for their sins. You'll be fine. You got the biggest thing, Alex. You got to do a lot of laughter, have some humor, be funny with the situation, and be funny with yourself. It really does help. It really does help get through this shit. Oh my gosh, I used to tell jokes to myself all the time just to get me through some of the bullshit I was going through. So. Okay, that's fine. I think I agree with the fun part. I think there's ways of continually making it fun, and probably somewhere along the line, Earl. Um, we will take a break for like a couple weeks or something in the middle of all this process. And then at some point I'll probably say, hey, I want to get this done. But yes, I agree with that. So it's like my thoughts are, if we can get this published, it would be very immensely helpful to all of us. But at the same time, I get what you're saying. Like if it's not working, let's find something else to do. But I'm with you there. Like I like my writing to be fun, but I also know that sometimes it's a chore, and I embrace the suck in order to get to the good stuff where it's fun again. And so sometimes you have to do that. But we'll definitely every couple of weeks, just how are we doing? Yeah. Okay, how are we doing? But I think putting a deadline on it helps. So I don't know. With family members, it's kind of hard. Debates don't always convince people, um, unless they're interested in the discussion. I think also, some books are very helpful at times, but people have to really be questioning their faith on their own in order for that to be effective. Your main interest, Alex, is getting through this yourself. Okay, I know it sounds selfish as hell, but you really have to focus on, how am I getting through this today? And I think that's the biggest issue that I've always had with deconversion is, yeah, I got my family members, but they have to be the ones that embrace this. They have to start doubting themselves. And once they start doubting, you won't have to do any of that. They will do it on their own. So I don't find you to be a pain in the ass, at least not so far, but maybe that's just my personality and my philosophy of life. I actually enjoy your company. So I've actually enjoyed this project and working with you so far. I said so far. I know how you get, but I'm a very forgiving person. So when I feel it's worth it, um, I don't know. Good reviewers. I don't know. We'll see. See, I want to get the project off the ground. I want to get the plane built and the plan up there. Then we'll turn on the engine and see what happens. I recognize where we are in this project. It's really a nice, great idea. So I want to make it work. So you will for a while, Ronald. Right now I'm kind of beating my anxiety because I'm getting stuff done and focused on other things. One of the ways you can fight depression too is not think about the religious aspect of your life so much. This is when I talk about like deconstruction, you also need to start doing something that reconstructs your belief system. Don't focus on the past so much. You're still going to have to focus on it to detangle yourself from it. The idea that the past doesn't have any effect on you right now, that's just bullshit. Um, at the same time, you got to start thinking, okay, what am I like without this? And start creating a vision of yourself without the religion. I think it's one of the best things that you can do is start focusing on reconstruction. Okay, I've tore down this part of the house. It's not there anymore. What's left and what can I build here? I think one the keys to getting over my depression about my own deconversion was starting to rebuild, like beginning to focus myself on what I wanted to be instead of focusing myself on all the stuff that I lost and things. Like you can spend all your time having regrets, and you need to start, finding how to have hope about yourself and hope about the future for yourself. And sometimes you have to divorce yourself from the world a little bit, you know. There's a country song that talks about, not, I'm going to pull myself away for a minute and pretend I don't live in the world, kind of thing. The lyric it goes, I think I'm paraphrasing badly, but you have to do that every once in a while. I do that probably once a week where I just detangle myself and think about where I'm heading. Okay. The depression comes from looking at all the downside all the time, and you got to start figuring out what the upside is. And there's a lot of upsides for leaving religion, trust me. Hey, hang in there, Alex. I'm gonna be there. So, I mean, if you ever need, that this stream is. I'm always gonna have Deconversion Hangout somewhere. It may not always be Thursday. Maybe it will stay on Thursday. I don't know. I don't know what the future holds for a lot of things in the future for me. It's always that way. So, wings are on. Yeah. It says basically, so it's a strange analogy, but I spent thousands of hours on it too. I used to feel ashamed of this. Now I'm like, it's a Porsche. One thing I've learned in deconversion, though, and Blossom brings it out very well, is stop feeling guilty for stuff that your religion made you feel guilty for. And ask yourself, do I really have a reason to feel guilty for doing this activity? For me, I love games. And so it's like, I like one of the few social interactions I actually like is like playing RPGs on a tabletop. And I just don't have anybody to do that with anymore, or turning on a computer game, doing something strategy oriented or RPG oriented. And, used to feel guilty about that when I was in my religion. I'm wasting time. I should be doing stuff for Jesus stuff. And now it's like, no, this is how I decompress. Like the world compresses me and playing games decompresses me. So yeah, the same for like weights and writing and all that stuff. Yeah. See you later, Evan. You have a good one, man. Yes, we'll be there for you. I mean, the thing is, Alex, you can always hit put a comment in the comments if you got an issue. There's some risks with that. Everybody knows what's going on, or you can hit my email. So, yeah, me too. Like when I left the faith, it was very much mourning. When I lost my belief in God, that was mourning. I lost my imaginary friend that I'd invested so much time in. It is very much like mourning. Like it is, it's a sad moment. It really is. And I'm not trying to be funny there, but I am being funny, I guess. It's kind of the way I deal with stuff is humor. And what changed now that I don't have it anymore? That's the question you're kind of asking constantly. I don't have this toy. So what do I do with it? It's like deconversion for me has been this constant battle of, okay, what am I now that I don't have this? Now that and detangling from it, it's like, it's hard. I'll give it. Yeah, there shouldn't be a worm inside you. Yes. Yeah. But the parent used to, yeah, and that's the thing, Cranky. It's like when you have experience, like I have so much experience in the church with board members and influential members trying to control me, that now I like you probably pick it up real quick when they do it. Like I've had people come into this channel and try to comment like you're trying to control the conversation. So yeah, went through that too. I was an angry atheist while still in the pulpit. I don't recommend it. So, but yeah, but anger is one of the stages of grief. Um, it's disbelief, like I can't believe that they lied to me, kind of thing. And then you get angry about it, and then you get sad about it, and then you try to find a way to adjust. And I, a lot of the comments today have been like from Alex and Ronald. You're in that sadness phase, and now I'm trying to tell you, okay, at some point you need to make this conscious effort to adjust to your new life. And actually, in adjusting, you're going to find a lot of joy in that. It's a good mental exercise that'll get you out of your funk. And, once I started reconstructing, okay, I ended up taking a lot more joy in life. And that's when it all began to work well for me. Like it's the joy of rediscovering yourself and actually figuring out who you are without the religion that really has kept me going. It still keeps me going. I'm at a phase in my life. The reason I'm struggling a lot of personal things, I'm at a phase in my life. Okay, what do I want to be remembered for? I'm given good medical care and whatever, which is always questionable. If I live another 20 years, what do I want to be remembered for? Okay, and I'm kind of at that point in my life, and so that's kind of the personal struggles I have now. Well, the thing is, in trying to discover what that is, I'm having a lot of fun, and I'm not as depressed and I'm not as anxious because I'm actually doing something for it, and I'm getting past the anger, past the sadness. Once you start focusing on what you want to be and what you are without religion, it can be a hard journey, but it also can be so enlightening that it's kind of exciting, like it's fun. And the only people that'll bring you down is probably family members and friends that still believe. Like they're the ones that, if you have a church that was really controlling, they'll try to get in your life. And my best advice at that point is to get away from all that crap. Yeah, it's even worse when you realize it's not real. So yes, I mean, the Abrahamic system is very screwed up, and it looks worse once you really realize what they're saying. Yeah, you got to fill it with something else, Fred. I think that's true with a lot of things, like addiction. Like if you look at religion as an addiction, Fred, then your advice there makes absolute wonderful sense, because there's no God-shaped hole in your heart. There's some lack that you're filling with religion, and it stimulates stuff to make you feel good. And then the same is true with anything. I find looking at religion as an addiction is actually quite helpful. So it's like once you figure that out, it's good. Okay, there you go. Why does it have to be the heart? It could be your ass. Okay, there we go. I get it, Blossom. That's hilarious. Oh, like a group of Jesus' exes sitting around and talking how bad breakups were. That is so true, Filbert. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's like we all had the same imaginary friend, and we all were in this relationship with them, and now we're not, and we're all talking about how bad the relationship was. There's a lot of truth to that, and at some point, you got to move on from the bad relationship and find a good one, or at least come to peace with yourself. So yes, Blues Brothers time travel. Well, I probably won't. In the book, I won't say Blues Brothers, but everybody will know what it is. I don't want to. Whoever controls the Blues Brothers copyright, I don't want to actually have fight with them. So everybody will know who it is. It's just we won't say what it is. That only happens on holidays for me, and I just let them. It doesn't mean anything to me to pray before I eat anymore. I just find prayer so useless most of the time anymore. It's like, but when I go to Thanksgiving, they want to pray before the meal, and I let them. They just don't ask me anymore, because the one time they did, probably 7-8 years ago, I said, I don't do that anymore. Have somebody else do it. I think it took them back a little bit, but yeah, I think it was. Sure, at the time they probably chalked it up. I was mad at God, but I was like, I'm not going to just talk to a non-existent entity. Okay, I just find that silly. Like Thanksgiving, I spend a lot of time now. Like, I think you can, you realize that the prayers before meals that your family and friends are still doing is you recognize that as nonsense, but it's not a good time to bring that up. It just isn't. I usually don't bow my head. I just wait for them to finish. I mean, unless you have somebody at the gathering that likes to pray forever, you know, you can usually get through it just by, I don't know, humming something else to yourself. So quietly. But yeah, you're not going to stop them from praying. So I'm working on it. That's why it's going to be a children's book, the Gnostic Family Gospels. I don't know. Somebody's going to have to write those. I'm not doing the Gnostic ones. I'm doing the true faith. The rest of you can write heresy if you want. Yeah, it really is performative, and just let them have their performance and realize that that's what it is. Just they're praying. So what? They're performing. They're doing their thing that makes them feel like they're more special than they are. So. I mean, you could see, now there's another option. You can bring in our own atheist demigod deity Fangs into it and just say, thanks, Fangs, for the nom-noms. I think Cranky makes a valid point. And they'll look at you, well, who's Fangs and what are nom-noms? And you can tell them about it, and they'll say, well, that's nonsense. That says it's no different than what you guys just did. If you don't want to go into a fight, don't go into a fight. So. I remember, Anne-Marie, that study coming out about prayer for heart surgery patients, and the ones that had prayer did worse. And the reason cited for it, the one that came up the most from a lot of his performance, now you can't let God down. You got to get better. Well, that creates more anxiety, and that makes recovering from heart stuff even worse. So, yeah. Do what you want, drink alcohol if you want, and show up to church and ask for forgiveness if you sin. That's how my dad saw it. Or you can just realize that sin doesn't exist and human behavior is what it is. And some of the things we get involved with are just being human. And so that's the problem I now have with reading the Bible most of the time, is when it starts to define what sin is. Okay, so basically being a human being means you're a sinner and there's no way to escape it. Good job, God, at creating us. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. But yeah, it's become when you get to the point where you realize that you don't need forgiveness for a lot of the bullshit Christianity says you need forgiveness. Like, I'm sorry, everybody checks each other out, and depending on your sexual orientation, like you look at other people and you go, yeah, I'd like to get some of that. And everybody does that to a certain extent. Maybe some don't, but it's maybe most people do that. And it's like, and then Jesus comes along and says, if you lust, you've committed the sin of adultery. And it's like, you've put a person, there's no way to, the vast majority of, by the time you get rid of lust and anger, you hit 100% of humanity. And religions do that. They define our flaws as, oh, you're human, so therefore you're flawed. And getting rid of that mentality has been probably the bigger struggle for me than anything else. It's like, no, I'm human and my flaws are just human. And I don't, I might have problems, but, you got to give me some better evidence than God said so at this point. So, yeah, you can do that. I mean, you can get up and leave and go to the bathroom. I can see that too. I mean, do what you got to do. It's like do what you got to do to get it. It's literally a short amount of time, the prayer. It's uncomfortable, but I've gotten through many prayers at family gatherings now, and they just don't ask me. And I just stand there, wait for them to get finished and do their little performance. And then I move on with the meal and enjoy it. I think the problem is you can make that so big that it ruins your enjoyment of the event. And so there's that. Yeah. Uh, agnostic, your religion hopped. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. South Africa. Oh man, I got to put that on my map of places where my fans come from. Quite an international group you are, I have to say. You don't boink anymore, but boobies are still fun. Okay, I can relate. It's not for lack of trying though. So, but yeah, it's like we'll have to remember that boobies are fun when we do the story of Adam and Eve, Earl. So yeah, but I don't know. Dealing with family members that want to do the performance thing in front of you. I try to remember that it's going to be a minute or two, and they're going to be done. Most of the time, that's the way it goes. And unless you have a long-winded prayer person in your midst, then it becomes an ordeal. So there you go. Hey, Wolf. Good to see you. Yeah, it's a bit late. I mean, I still got about 20-some minutes left. So we're having a little bit of fun. So yes, dude, it always feels longer in the moment, but it really is only a minute or two. And it's get through it, enjoy your time with your family. You can fixate on 1 or 2 minutes at a meal when people are praying and miss the other couple hours that you're going to spend with your family. I mean, we've got to do Eve, and I don't want to do what most children's books do with Eve, which is basically cover her with bushes and make her sexually appealing as rock. It's like, yeah, okay. we want to do something different there. So, for the latecomers, I know that I can see from my viewership that the latecomers have come in, and now most of you are here. I just want to, if you're a member of the channel and you want to give some joy to other people and gift some memberships, which I count towards the goal for the day. There's a couple new emojis done by the lovely I Killed Earl. We've got our nope emoji, and we have our yes emoji, which have replaced the thumbs up and thumbs down that you members used to have. And so now you have Fangs doing that. This is a new piece that Earl did for Saturday's stream, because we did the Blues Brothers and all the other things from that movie. I find that the more I look at this one, the funnier and funnier it gets. So, and then of course the spur of the moment, Cranky Elder God, Yahweh, Fangs, the Doom Hammer, and a Knight, which I haven't given a definition to yet, but I probably will. And then today I got this from the lovely Earl. So, so this might or may not be our new version of Jonah and the Big Fish. So free the nipple. There you go. Yeah, I can imagine on a hot day. I always love that. Oh, you're going to tempt men. I'm like, well, maybe the men need to get their shit together. But yes, boobies are always going to be attractive, Earl. To me, anyway. My friends at least have the common decency to pray in silence, and which I don't understand. There you go. I'm all down for putting Lilith in this story too. The real story of why Lilith was banned is much more complicated. That she wouldn't submit to her husband. To make crime and delusion so much easier, yes. Like any social identity is a mind virus. Actually, Earl, that's a great idea. See, there's so much things I want to do in a small account of Adam and Eve. Like, like Fang says, and the whole thing is going to be prefaced with, is this a dream? Because I don't think this is really happening. And, it's Fangs' awakening moment as a deity, and so he's not quite sure if it's a dream or real. And that's because, yeah, Adam and Eve never happened. There's just no way. So it just doesn't make any sense. I was at the vet and missed the photo. Oh, all right. There you go. See, I love that the Blues Brothers aspect of Fangs and the Hellhound. I think it's hilarious. The shades, oh my gosh. I definitely want to see more of them in shades. So, see you later, Fred. Appreciate you. Commiserate on the lacks of Adam. So Adam wasn't getting it done for either lady, so they decided to turn to each other. I can see that. Yeah, but yeah, it's like it. There's a lot of things that it's like the Chronicles of Fangs or whatever we're going to end up calling this is like a lot of it is dreaming because he's like walking through the mythology of another religion and realizing that's possibly just a dream and it didn't really happen. So, oh. Yeah, I mean, I do this too. I'm going to start going through my past streams to cut stuff out to make into other videos. It's something I've been meaning to do for a long time. I just got to dedicate time to it, and that's what I do. So, but yeah, there's so many ideas, and we're eventually going to probably the real trick to writing and making things good is creating a massive amount of material and then editing it down and focusing it. So it's highly likely that we're all kind of neurotic here. We're all going to catch each other's neurosis. Okay, so Cranky is also warning us, Earl, that we're on the verge of truths that will shatter our very mind. And coming from a cranky elder god, he would know. But at this point in my life, I think a little madness goes a long way. So, being a little bonkers, yeah. Shatter my mind. I have a mind left, So yeah, but yes, but yes, I think the elder god makes a valid point. So, you're neurotypical here. You're neurotypical here. Yeah, maybe. I can absolutely see some of you you come here because then you feel normal. Is that what we're talking about? That might or might not be valid. But yes. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Leaving the faith, it never seems to get over. I never get over it. So yes, indeed, you are neurotypical here. With all the psychoses represented, please stand up. That's a long list. Oh, but I'm good with it. I have a lot more fun with myself as I accept myself for who I am. I actually enjoy who I am a lot more than I used to. I don't have that you're a piece of shit sinner that's no good for anything, and it's only by God's grace that you're worth anything anymore. I don't have that. And I don't have to deal with it, and I feel a lot better. So, it's just getting rid of that stuff. And I can look at a picture of a rabbit and a dog riding in a car and laugh my ass off. And yeah, I don't know. I can do these things. I can make up stories about Mary getting the Annunciation from a black rabbit instead of the Archangel Gabriel, and her being impregnated by a zygote from the future, and I can laugh about that. Yeah, me too. I feel less weird here, but I also feel more relaxed here than any other place. Deconversion Hangout is my favorite stream to do because I don't have to hide who I am as much. Like when I deal with theists, Ed's autism kind of guards his what he reveals about himself, and the masking comes out. So, but I don't think I mask as much on this stream as I do anywhere else. So, I don't know. See, I'm thinking, I've got I got to get my list of Bible stories, and then I'll probably do a synopsis of what I want to do with each one, and I've already got this one pretty fleshed out, the Mary story. So, Fangs blog out yet? I don't know. See, we're trying to write canon scripture, so I don't know if a blog works. I do blog, but when I go to blog, I deal with everything but atheism and religion. Like I purposely have made my blog, The Gray Wayfarer, a religion and atheism free zone, just so I get away from it for a bit. So, to war with a Discord mod about the Blues Bunny piece. She chose violence, so she brought out the Goblin Queen. Fangs has been on your blog since the beginning. Yeah, I mean, you can go to I Killed Earl's blog is in the description of this stream, and you can go there, and she has several blog posts on Fangs, and some Fangs lore, so you can always go there. I let her be the visual prophetess, the lap in which our Lord naps. And I do my thing, and it all works out because it's a religion, and you can figure out ways to tie anything together in a religion. So we're good. Even contradictory ideas can be completely reconciled with a good dose of theology. So, so yeah, I mean, we can definitely do that. But yeah, Earl's had Fangs on her blog almost since the beginning. Like the development of Fangs as a character. Yeah, she's got it. And a lot of the pieces of artwork she's done and how Fangs has morphed and changed as far as a piece of art, definitely there. Dust in the Wind. Yes. One of my favorite songs, actually. I have a few favorite songs. I don't know. Favorite song is a hard thing for me to do. It depends on the moment. All right. Let's see. I mean, oh yeah, I do have it. Yeah, but it's like, this is kind of the way fangsology works right now. At least the true form of fangsology, but we do welcome heresy. So, yeah, I mean, she's documented her artistic creation process of Fangs pretty well. My blog is about other things I do, so I don't necessarily do Fangs, but I have like my idea document where I've got stuff from Fangs, and I've also done a couple of PowerPoints with Fangs lore, so I've got those as well. Some of it will end up in the book, and some of it will end up elsewhere, and we'll see. I mean, but I welcome all heresies, all denominations. You do what you want. Fangs doesn't care. Quite literally does not care. The fact that you try for the correct doctrine of Fangs amuses him. So, I appreciate it. The satanic verses. Yeah. No, the satanic verses is a different thing altogether than the Satanic Bible, as I recall. There is a Satanic Bible, but the Satanic verses is another thing altogether. Okay. Yeah, she did like this long post about what's going on in her life, and I actually resonated with it really well. I'm kind of there myself with my own profession in retail, so we had a good private discussion about it, and I appreciate that Earl put up with me for that. Um, but yeah, just I kind of figured that the artwork was coming. Yeah, I thought so, but the satanic verses are much older, as I remember. But yeah, it's very very different. So yep, there we go. Yeah, but if you want, that's the article that she just recently wrote, and it's a good one. It's a good one. If you feel frustrated and stuff like that, you can have somebody that's also feeling frustrated. And I resonated with this article so much, Earl. I felt it deep in my non-existent soul. Um, I'm using an analogy, but I just emotionally it just resonated with me so much. Like it's like, I feel this. I feel this. I don't want this anymore. And I had that just from a deconversion point of view. This is kind of where my life is. It's like I I want to finally start following my own desires and my own advice to myself about how to get along in life. And I think I've reached a deconversion moment where I can do that, where I can say, you know what, this is what I need to do. Okay. And I think that's been the struggle. So okay, so it is later. All right. You're deconstructing from dentistry. You're replacing religion. Yes. Okay. So got the Satanic Bible and the Satanic Verses. All recommended reading, by the way. Um, you find out that the Church of Satan really isn't about Satan. So it really isn't. Um, although when I look at the character of Satan, the actual times when Satan shows up, he's not such a bad dude. So he's not as bad as Yahweh is. Constructing from dentistry. And you're replacing with a cult to fangs. There you go. What could be better? At least the cult to fangs is entertaining and fun. Uh, and if we always need to be making sure that this is entertaining and fun, and I'm just having a blast with it. So yeah, but yeah, it's been great. But yeah, just my imagination's all over the place, and because I have multiple things to do now, I don't seem to get bored. I bump around a bit, and that kind of is how my autistic brain works. Like deep dives, gets interested in something else, deep dives that, gets interested, and sometimes it comes back to an original topic. So yeah. Uh, yeah, you can get a fatwa drawing a cartoon of Muhammad. I don't know. We might do that late in the book and get in trouble with the Islamic folks. That'll be fun. This is the most recent one that I have. I'm sure you have changed it. You said you were gonna. I have the original one you sent me a long time ago, and I have this one. I think this is the later one because I have blue eyes in this one. So, but yeah, it's still one of my favorite pictures. The unholy trinity, and and I'm down with it. So, being a member of the unholy trinity, it works for me. So, oh, but it's been, well, folks, I'm going to have to call it short. It's my Friday night to work, and so yeah, it means we're winning. Yeah, it means we are winning. I do. I like that. But yeah, I'm going to have to call it a night. Thank you very much, everybody who donated. Didn't quite get to the hat, but thanks for everybody who keeps these streams alive. I do them ad free, and so those of you that help pay for them, I really appreciate that. It's uh, it's been a wild ride the last week, but I'm feeling better. The pain in my now non-existent tooth has subsided to the point I don't need painkillers. I've got my vision looked at, and we got a plan. My anxiety levels have kind of dropped quite a bit, and I'm feeling so much better. So hopefully, if the temperature drops a little bit, I'll be even better. So, but thank you everybody for stopping by. Appreciate all of you. May fangs nibble on all of your hearts and purify your vegetables, and just make sure you hit the like button. She is very consensual. So, but yes, I got to work tonight, and then I'm going to spend the weekend finishing up some last things that I think will get rid of some of the rest of my anxious feelings, which just crop up. As Cranky said earlier, thing about anxiety, it doesn't really need a reason, but there are ways of combating it, and I'm going to get some rest, as Anne says, and thank you all very much for showing up tonight. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the support. I hope Ronald, Alex, all of you, you get the help you need. Just make sure that you're focusing on your future and less on your past. That's a big shift that has to take place in your brain, deconstructing. So make sure you start to deconstruct, but make sure you start rebuilding stuff. That's probably the best advice I can give that came out of the stream. But make sure you're focusing on your future, and I'm going to continue to do that. And thank you all for being here tonight. I appreciate all of you. And for you members and wannabe members, remember there's 2 new emojis, and you can use those during chat and everything else, and just have to become a member. So thank you very much for that. And thank you, Earl, for all your artwork. Appreciate you. Thank you, mods. It doesn't look like we had to be busy tonight. So maybe the theists are finally getting it, that this is our little private space to talk and have a good time. So maybe they're finally getting it. But thank you, everybody. Appreciate all of you. And as always, live your best life. You only get one go around, and then it's over. So you want to take all your time, money, and opportunities and spend them on yourself, the people you love and care for, and to make this a better world. You'll be happier if you do. Don't waste them on the trappings of religion and faith, because that's a dead end. I speak from experience. And as always, folks, thanks for stopping by, and I will catch you all next time, which will be Saturday. So see you then.